Are you just getting into barbecuing and don't have one of these wireless thermometers? Let me tell you something. If you don't have any of these, or you have one and want to know what the other ones are like, I've got 3 of them here. And I'm going to do a video this time that's going to give you a description on how each one of them compares to the other. I can tell you my favorite parts about some and my not so favorite parts about the other ones. Just so happen to be doing a Mexican brisket again, which I can put the card up in the corner. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out. But come back. The products that I'm going to be testing in this video is by Inkbird, MEATER, and Temp Spike. If you got one of these, great. If you're wondering about any one of these 3 products, you want to know how good it is or how bad it is, stick around. First up is going to be the Inkbird. I do like the simple, easy to use interface here. It's nothing complicated. Gives you your internal, ambient, and target temp. If you scroll down, it gives you a nice little graph, but what I found out is it doesn't give you an overall graph. It just gives you that time span, and that's it. Now you can go in and pick any of your food types. Nice little layout. You can go in here and set the temperature units from Celsius to Fahrenheit. Change your day and night mode. And then it also has a food oven temp calibration. I did mess with this during the cook, and I ended up in the end just setting it back to 0 on both of those. So next up is the device by MEATER. I do like the interface on this one more, actually. You go in and you set up your cook for the type of meat that you're going to select. Mine was already pretty much set to beef under brisket. I think I had made a custom one at one point, but I ended up selecting the standard brisket one. So you would just select Start Cook. Set this at your desired internal temp. I do appreciate the fact that it has some sort of movement on a graph there. I also noticed that the ambient wasn't reading, so I was kind of confused. It's worked before. You can also go in and set several different alarms when you're getting close to reaching the desired temperature. You can set a high and low limit for the ambient. Here's a nice graph that actually does show from start to finish of the cook, and you'll see that further in the video. So I was getting back to the ambient temperature not reading. I had the device laying here on my desk, and I was trying to figure out what was going on. So as I was messing around with the app for about 10 minutes, it still wasn't reading ambient temperature. And so I selected the support, started staring at that, and I got all sorts of discombobulated. I'm like, what is this? And then I read, it's not going to read ambient temperature until the ambient is above what the internal temperature is. So that's why it was not reading. So what I did is I just put my thumb on the end of the sensor for ambient, and it started reading. I'm not sure why they programmed that into the device. Some sort of safety effect, I'm not sure, but that's how that thing works. Last but not least is the device from Temp Spike. As you can see, this page is pretty busy. The app has a lot of stuff on it. It's not very plain and simple like the other ones. There's also nothing moving on the graph. It's just solid. So it kind of worries me that sometimes it's not doing anything, but it is. Just like all the other applications, you can set an ambient high and low limit. You can come in here and set your profile for what type of food you're going to be cooking. Mine was already set to brisket. So it gives you an internal, a target, and at the bottom an ambient. And here is your alarm high and low parameters. The one good thing about this device is it has a Wi-Fi boost. So this thing will reach with your application on your phone pretty far. You could walk down the street. This is the 16-pound brisket. It's been resting in the fridge for about 4 hours with this rub on it. So we're gonna go ahead and get all these probes put in here roughly in the same spot. This is gonna be the test. So the first one I'm starting with is by Inkbird. So I'm just gonna put this in, and this one says to put the meter all the way to the line, just like it does on the other probes, but for some reason their line is all the way near the end. That's what they want. So this is the one that's by MEATER. I'm going to go right next to it. And the best place to be is right in the middle of this flat, between the flat and the point. And on the meter, it says to be about where that line is, which is right about there. This is the Temp Spike, and it has a line as well, which is about 3/4 of the way. So I'm going to put this one in just a little bit further apart, right to the line. And there we go. All right, so there we go. So I've got all these in the middle. I'm gonna get this on the smoker here in a minute, and I'm gonna get my phone and go through each one of the applications to show you what's going on at that particular time. And this is gonna be a good test to see which one is accurate. Maybe they're all accurate. Maybe one's accurate. Maybe nothing's accurate. I'm also gonna use one of the probes from the Pit Boss. I'll stick it in right here and get a fourth reference just to see what's going on all 4 applications. So this will be a pretty good test. I'm excited. All right, we're at 250. Get this on the smoker here. Take these probes out of the way. Get this big boy on there. There's my 3 probes. I'm gonna face them this way. Fat side up. That's just the way I do it. I'm gonna use one of these for measuring from the Pit Boss. And the other one's gonna be for some pork shoulder that I put on in the morning. So I'm just gonna lay that one in there. Actually, you know what? No, I'm gonna go ahead and put it in there too. We got 5 sensors in here. A little overkill, but hey, I wanna see what's accurate. All right, I'm back in 12 hours. So what I'm going to put up here is a comparison of all 4 applications. What I found is that all 3 sensors, in order for me to get 200, 215, 220 ambient, I had to set the Pit Boss to 280. Oh yeah, and the graph didn't work on the vertical Pit Boss application. All right, so 1 hour into the cook, I'm running supposedly 280, which is giving me 208 to 214 on the ambient. So at 2:30 in the morning, unfortunately, this cook went faster than I thought. It had already reached 165 internal, woke me up with the alarms. At that point, I figured that the 280 on the Pit Boss was not accurate. This is the bar graph by the MEATER device showing just how bad the swing was on the temperature, overshooting and undershooting. This shows the overall temperature. Like I said, the one on the left isn't going to give you the entire cook time. The one on the right does. and that's made by MEATER. All right, so final thoughts on all the temp sensors. I gotta say, my favorite is probably gonna be the MEATER. Maybe that's no surprise. I like the application. The case is okay. It's not fancy like the Inkbird, but overall, I would say with the layout of the application and how easy it is, plus the ability to see an overall graph, I would say that that's probably my #1 pick. Then the Inkbird, then the Spike Temp. Something I wanted to share with you guys that might be a pro tip. When I pulled the brisket off, I put the pork butt on there. I didn't change anything about the temperature setting or anything. I just left it running and swapped them out. I noticed that after an hour of cooking the pork butt, the temperature that it was reading in the unit was 310. And I was supposed to be cooking at 225. And I thought, man, that is grossly way over what it should be. So I decided to take just a rag with a little bit of water. I went out there and I wiped the sensor down that's in the back, and immediately it came down to 180 because I wiped it down with the wet rag. And then within a few minutes, it went right to 225 where it should be and stayed right there. So I'm thinking, if y'all haven't tried that, I think that's what I'm gonna do is from now on, periodically in the cook, especially these long cooks, I'm probably gonna wipe down that sensor just to make sure that it's clean and getting a good reading, and see if that gives me better outcomes on the end product. For the next video, I've got this beautiful box, and man, let me tell you, this box is beautiful. I almost don't even want to open it up or throw it away. The next video that's going to come out, what I'm wanting to do is try these pellets from Jealous Devil. I have heard good things about this, that they put out a really good smoke flavor for pellets. I'm going to give that a shot. I'm going to get a prime brisket with the Jealous Devil pellets, and I'm hoping for some just phenomenal brisket. If you found this video informational and you enjoyed it, hey man, hit the subscribe, hit the like, hit the bell for notifications.